Welcome to the Earthworks Podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon from many of our turf friends from the past 30 years.
Hello all and welcome to the Earthworks Podcast. This week I'm your host, Jack Higgins, and I have the pleasure of sitting in the office with Mr. Jerad Minnick here in Montgomery County, Maryland at the Maryland SoccerPlex.
Welcome back, Jack. Welcome back.
I love being here, dude. You know that.
We love having you here. That's not just because you bring donuts when you come.
Yeah, I do that. I do that.
Tell Bo that the next time he comes.
Yeah, he
came through. He came through last week
with Gatorade, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. He told me we were on the phone when he was driving over here, and
He's
said,
so great.
And that was when it was like 100 degrees out.
Yeah.
Well,
it actually that feels like right now is 101.
Okay, it's still like 100 degrees out.
Welcome to summer in the Mid-Atlantic, baby. I'm glad we're not growing bent grass.
Oh no!
Shout out to all those superintendents that are.
Good point, bent grass and POA, and yeah, good point. It has been a very challenging summer. It came on the backs of what was kind of a droughty spring for a lot of people, and weather's been weird. You and I were just discussing like how it's affected your schedule here.
Yeah, weird is a good description, and I don't want to sound old. I'm starting to sound old in a lot of things I say. I think kids do that too, though. But
that's true.
It's like every day I just get more to the point that it's just like you just gotta hang on for the ride, and stop stressing about it so much that what Mother Nature is going to throw, because we just talked about yesterday. We had no chance of rain, and we ended up with a half-inch of rain from a cell that just nobody else got that rain in this area except for us.
That's great.
But we are in severe drought now.
Mm-hmm.
We're 9 inches behind for the year after finishing the year last year 11 inches behind. But Mother Nature never to be outdone. We've now, in this calendar year, we have had 21 event weekends. We've had rain on 17 of the 21 event weekends.
Oh.
Yet we're still behind.
And that's that's right. That's what I meant. Like, it's affected your schedule. You've gotten some rain, but they've come on game days.
Yep. And it's just been, it's never a lot. It's always just a little. It's always just enough to make what I feel bad for, and a lot of our staff, and I feel bad for the little kids, I shouldn't say little kids, young players,
Mm-hmm.
Especially, but even our professional rugby team that was here. We had a preseason scrimmage the 24th of February. Excuse me, no, the 20th of February.
Insane.
It was one of the nicest days we had the entire rugby season, because we had wind or rain or some phenomenon of Mother Nature being all year until their last match. So our last match 3 weeks ago, second week of July, beautiful. And it's like, see what it can be like here? It can be beautiful here. Please come back next year, and maybe we'll experience nice weather.
Well, yeah, I mean, because let's remind everybody, this place is just a factory for putting out events.
That's what we do, baby. That's what we do. Yep, indeed. It's
20 fields.
24 fields.
24 fields.
Sorry.
I'm trying to give.
Wasn't very. 24 fields, and we have, as I just mentioned, of our events this year, we went 16 weeks straight to start the year, from mid-March until just a few weeks ago. We had our last lacrosse tournament. So youth, I mean, we've done, it's so cool though, Jack, because it's the opportunity that's provided.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the facility was created for.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we do, or it's what we like to encourage our staff to think about our industry, mm-hmm. to say that we're in this job, we're in the service industry. I've talked about that before, that without players, without clients, we don't exist. But that doesn't matter if it's the professional level or at the youth level. Like, we need players. We serve them. Our job is to provide surfaces for players.
Mm-hmm.
Our job isn't to produce a field. Our job is to provide a surface for players to play on.
Well, so in that regard, how did you do through all these rainy weekends, providing like the playing conditions?
Yeah, it's a good, not bad.
Okay.
Not good. We're not in as good a shape as we would like to be. We're in better shape than we probably should be.
Definitely.
But
you're not painting the picture I saw driving through, but
we look really good right now. It's that 545.
oh, seriously?
That's 545 color out there right now.
When did
It's
you put
beautiful.
that out?
About 2.5 weeks ago.
Nice.
Just a nice little quarter pound, just to.
Oh, and that
Especially on our
rides.
cool season, we're just trying. Yeah, we got so much ryegrass. We're just trying to just nurse it along,
Mhm.
and we've had great success on. Well, okay, so we're not as good as we want to be. We learned a lot because we did. This is crazy to say this because we've had so much play. I mean, we've had well over 400 matches of field at this, or excuse me, 400 hours of field. We've had well over 250 matches of field at this point.
400 hours of field.
Wow, that's not right. I apologize. Four.
That's got no.
We're 350 matches. I should have done this math to not be discombobulated in this, but yeah,
No, that.
I mean, we loaded up. We'll be at 1,200 hours by the time we get done this year.
Yeah.
Pretty much overall. We're up about 20% overall on total hours of use. We're usually one of the most high traffic facilities in the country, no matter what.
Mhm.
I don't know where we found space to find 20% more, but we did used to have like a random field open on like one or two fields on a Sunday. We would have out.
Okay.
Or wouldn't have matches. We didn't have that all spring. We didn't have a single weekend that we could.
Stacked it up.
We couldn't. Before we were like, okay, you know what? There's a little bit less on this field this next week. Maybe we can do some seeding. Rotate it out, pull the goals quick. We didn't have that. We were jam packed.
And a lot of so you have Bermuda and cool season, and you're getting more and more Bermuda.
Correct.
You've got 3 fields that are converting right now.
Just got sprigged on Monday.
Okay. But what I'm saying is that a lot of that spring, the stack schedule was played on overseeded Bermuda.
Correct. Yeah, we had 10 of our 24 this year were overseeded Bermuda.
And next year will be 13 at it. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, they even with a cool and wet spring, we had so much success with Bermuda that we've continued to harbor a little bit of concern about the risk of Bermuda. Because in 2018 we had winter kill. By what we've learned, and especially now as we've studied and experienced it, I think our winter kill in 2018 was more about our Bermuda being too green in the fall when we played on it. We had a Thanksgiving tournament that our Bermuda still had green down in it, and we didn't go above freezing the whole weekend.
Oh.
So
yeah. So
now
you played on like frosty Bermuda.
Yeah. I mean, it looked brown on the top, but we now know that there's green leaves down underneath, and I think that's what caused it. So now we're trying to figure out how to force Bermuda into dormancy at some point.
Well, you mentioned to me that you thought that the success of your Bermuda fields this spring and handling all the traffic and the pressure this spring and let's be real, we're talking about Bermuda fields that are showing ryegrass, like that
Absolutely.
Are green with rye.
Yep.
But anyway, so you said that a lot of the success of the stability and the ability of the Bermuda to take that pressure even while it was still dormant this spring was what you attributed to how you put it to bed last year.
We learned a lot. How many times have I said that so far? We we're always learning.
Well, that's the whtle game.
And
That's all the growers' game, and that's what growers do.
Job security. Is
Yeah.
that right? So, I mean, it's good because we get better.
All
And we continue to improve. So we can take 20% increase year over year.
And so we learned a lot. You know who the teacher is to me? Like what I say, the plant.
Yeah.
Dude, the plant's the teacher. Like it's showing you what it wants.
What it wants.
So anyway, so you did a good job at prepping.
We spent a lot of time last fall on what are we? Are we August 1st today? We're August 1st today when we're taping this.
Mm-hmm.
Now is when we start. Between now, August 1st, and September 15th, October 1st, like the next 6 to 8 weeks, it has to all be about carbohydrate reserve creation to be able to get the Bermuda to green up in the spring.
Well, and maybe you even started 2 weeks ago with 545 app.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've already done 333 in our middles. We're thinking about what can we do to grow roots.
Yeah,
that's what it's about. Because we didn't. The nice thing is we didn't have to push to get a whole bunch of extra density.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
it's bizarre to think because typically we would have to spend June and July just pushing density, especially in the middles where it's thin, because you get so much play up and down the middle of a field.
But so like for example, you could have looked thin-ish in April, but like meaning the ryegrass might have been thin, but
we weren't thin.
No, you weren't. Okay, yeah.
We got thin in after we played a tournament. MLS Next Flex was a 5-day. It's the top 256 academy teams in the MLS Academy system. So essentially the top 256 teams in North America.
Awesome.
5 days, rained every day.
Can you believe? Just the top 256 teams in the whole continent, like convening here at the Maryland SoccerPlex.
It's terrific. It's a great event. Yeah. Our problem was, or the challenge of it is that one of the age divisions that were here were U19, U17, U16, U15. So you've got we had the 2 days with the most rain. We had 5 matches each day, so 10 matches of U19 boys, essentially professional players.
Those are adults, yeah.
Professional players in the rain. If you're in a stadium, you're playing 1 or 2 matches in a day. You're done. We're playing 5, and then the next day we're getting on playing 5 more.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
just the beating that we took during that event. With the rain, because it was such light rain that it didn't create a great environment for drainage because the gravity was never there. Exactly.
Yeah, you
the
didn't
weight was
have
never there.
the hydraulic head to really run it through your root system, or the root zone, and so it stayed wet on top.
And it really, and a lesson, as we talked about, we learned our ryegrass, especially in our middles, our ryegrass on all of our fields, cool season and warm season. We did such a good job in the fall and in the spring. We were absolutely perfect up to that point, and that was 8 weeks into the season. We were actually almost too thick. But because we were having so much use, I skipped a verticut, and I skipped a top dress to think that, you know what, we're beating them up enough. The players are beating them up. Well, that organic matter accumulation from the ryegrass would have been different if it was just straight bluegrass fields or dormant Bermuda fields, because you weren't accumulating, but we were cool enough that we were accumulating leaf matter on the surface, creating an organic matter layer that then came back to haunt us during that event. So
Plus
lesson being
the light rain. Yeah, you held up.
We had we shouldn't have skipped the maintenance practices we knew we needed.
That's the lesson you're saying? Yeah.
Definitely. The other lesson, you can get too thick. Like we were treating our middles specifically. We didn't have issue like our middles were way better than our outsides. And we needed to back off. Primo as well. I don't love using Primo in the spring because the temperatures are so up and down.
Okay, so your response is up and down, or
Well, ryegrass response stays pretty consistent
okay?
because it doesn't really mind the cool temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing that next spring, it's definitely about debris management. We also could run back, like we weren't cutting with
Baskets.
We weren't cutting with baskets every time. We should have been cutting with baskets, but it's super labor intensive when you're cutting 24 fields.
Yeah.
So we should have been in those wet, cool weeks. We should have been cutting. I mean, the ryegrass was growing like crazy.
And it's also that
we
your
should have been
Bermuda
catching.
is so dense below it too. You know, which you
Certainly.
need for the stability. That can't go away.
Right.
And it's not going to go away with how that plant grows.
Yeah.
So,
It's-
okay, so lessons were manage the biomass.
absolutely, especially knowing it's ryegrass in the spring and you're not getting the biological activity that you would get in the summer or the fall.
Mm-hmm. So so that's manage the biomass, top dress, verticut
Yep.
on the schedule, and use baskets, even though it's a lot of labor.
Still got to do it.
Oof.
Still got to do it.
Oof.
Yep.
Well.
It's, even if it's just the middles. I mean, we've transitioned to where we're running 2653Bs, smaller mowers on our middles now. It's not that hard to do. It's just it just takes time.
Well, where do you put it? Where do you put the clippings? Where do you collect the clippings? Do you have the right buggy? Do you have a Provenost? Is the nice trailer that people like?
Yeah, you
for
know
that?
what we looked for the budget this winter is I think we'll get a small like I would call it a manure spreader or like a compost spreader,
Cool.
and then you can just go spread them.
Ooh.
And then we can also use that to spread our Bermuda Phrasmo spoils and use them so we could spread them a little because they don't the spoils don't love going through our top dresser. We have a big Dakota 440.
What do you do with the spoils now?
We try to top dress them.
Back on the Bermuda
Yeah,
fields.
you have to have somebody. Well, just in our common areas.
So are the common areas shifting to Bermuda with those going out there?
Slowly, it's more about the organic matter that the rich because our surrounds our common area has not ever been highly maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Even different than a golf course, we don't spend much of any time on our what we would call our rough. I mean,
Sure.
8 feet away from the field, nothing's irrigated. Nothing is so like when we're in a drought period like now, everything's just brown.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see where the Bermuda's at.
Yeah.
But that's pretty typical for the Mid Atlantic.
And that's good. I mean, that's exactly what you want. That's a fine thing. So, all right. So that was a lesson learned with your overseeded ryegrass fields.
Because we use ryegrass overseeding on
your
bluegrass
on your
too.
bluegrass season.
So really our biggest problem with it was our most damage was on our cool season fields. But we had a cold winter, but we still grew, and you can get too thick. There's such a thing as too thick, especially in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying to stay on it, and I stay ahead of it. Like we were feeling really good about it. He's like, oh yeah, look how good we are, but you can be too good.
Yeah,
if you're gonna
exactly.
have this much play.
Well, that's
you
the
have
thing.
to
It's
think
the
about it
schedule.
completely differently.
It's the schedule that you have here. So okay, so that brought us through kind of through the end of May. Things started to shift in June. The heat started to come on. Tell me about what happened then.
Well, our Bermuda continued to, or our Bermuda started to grow. We didn't get great temperatures until the last week of June. We've had terrific temperatures since then. I mean, terrific for warm season, miserable for cool season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a great warm season July. We were on track to have, oh goodness, what we were on. We were on track at some point in July to have the second hottest summer ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had I think that early on we were averaged 8 days over 90 by that point. Sorry, my chair is really squeaky.
It's all good, dude. No.
We had averaged 8 days over 90 at that point. We were already at 14.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was in we didn't really get that till late June. So
the Bermuda really started jumping. Ride transition, any issues?
Awesome. No.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to we prepared it last fall. Carb load, and it just came out strong. We keep our mowing height. We do not take our mowing height below 3/4 for soccer, because we try to keep our cool season and warm season ball roll distance similar.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, would I love to take it to a half or below early? Would love to, but we're concerned about playing experience.
Absolutely.
So as soon as we were done with soccer ended 3rd week of June.
Mm-hmm.
We go directly from soccer. We transition completely to lacrosse. Everything goes to lacrosse. We ended even our recreational tournament. Like, we have a recreational tournament here that we end the year with, sort of like a celebration of, like, the recreational teams. You know, it's not travel team. It's not high. You know, but
Right.
like sort of celebration of the kids for the future.
That's great. Yeah, come out and play on the nice fields.
Last year we had 198 teams.
Okay.
This year we had to cap it at 298.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah,
I mean, it's like soccer in this area has always been popular. It's exploded.
Okay.
So we had that. So even that weekend, usually that weekend, about half our fields are closed.
You had to
No,
keep
not
them
this
all
year.
open.
Not
Yeah.
this year.
So
So in 4 days, we had to transition everything to lacrosse, put all the soccer goals away, get all the lacrosse goals out, change all the benches, do all that stuff. And then, because we host the first of our lacrosse events is a 3-day recruiting tournament for the Women's Lacrosse Coaches Association, the IWLCA.
Mm-hmm.
They host their own event. We had over 450 college coaches here that weekend.
Whoa.
Wild.
So what turf wise, you don't drop the heights for that?
We do immediately. We did
Okay.
immediately that week.
Okay,
Now,
so what happened?
the Bermuda said, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, because you dropped it down to half inch.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We went to 4. Yeah. We went to 500, and then 2 weeks later we got to 375 on everything.
Wow.
We took our stadium, our Tahoma, to 250.
Oh, that must have looked sharp.
Oh, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's,
good. You're maintaining it at that right now.
Yeah.
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 Ooh, nice.
But even interesting. Typically, what we observe, especially because our Bermuda fields, many of them have Patriot on the outsides.
Right.
Which, for those of you in the South, Patriot would be, I would call, like the little brother or the stepbrother of Celebration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is just aggressive and grainy and thick, and we didn't scalp even on Patriot. We didn't feed a lot. Like,
Wonderful.
it didn't take a lot of feed to wake them up. It took, lowered the height, and it was there. So I really think the approach we took last fall, to just carb load and then let it just sort of come out on its own speed, feed it a little bit, stimulate it. But even today, like, to take it to that height, you would typically turn Patriot completely brown.
Wow.
We haven't had that.
That's
We're still not
awesome, dude.
scalping.
Okay, so this carb loading that is so important from now through the through the middle of September, what did you do last year? What was the carb loading?
333.
Okay.
Procore and slice, and then put out 333. Really get the surface open.
Awesome.
We did that twice, specifically on our middles. We did the whole field once, and then we did the middle 2 more times.
The combination of the compost and the biology, the mycorrhiza, oh my gosh, like it just strengthens the plant. So like you said, like, can you drop the heights on Patriot? There you go.
Yeah, and
It strengthens the plant, yeah.
And then we backed that up with some seaweeds. We backed that up with
C3.
C3 as well, absolutely. Yeah, we backed that up with calcium. We backed that up with phosphate, obviously, because that's you're gonna need that for rooting. We did all of our foliar and our granular apps were focused specifically on rooting.
Wow. Awesome.
But
Yeah,
we were
that's
there.
it.
We were there. We didn't need density, because once you get your density to where it needs to be, well, on Bermuda we shut it down.
Right.
This week we raised our outsides of the Bermudas to 3/4.
That's something I wanted to ask too. Like physically, any cultural practices.
We're essentially gonna. I mean, it's August 1st. We've got play. We don't have full complex play until last week of August, first week of September. So we have 3 or 4 weeks. Like Georgetown teams are here for their preseason. American University's here for their preseason. Like we have stuff going on, but because of that, we're not beating them up. Even if we were playing on them, it's not like we're beating up Bermuda at this point. I mean,
No, it's some happy Bermuda.
it's not 101 degree heat index right now. I mean, Bermuda's just happy as can be.
Love it.
Everything we're doing physically as well, raising the heights. Like, I don't need to stay low. We're going to raise the height. We're going to put primo on specifically on our outside, the middle, the outside third on both sides, so outside the circle, and shut them down. Just shut them down. Like, what do we need? Even if I bronze them a little bit, who cares? Like, we're not on television. We need to do what's best for the plant to be ready for playability once we pick up in September.
Yep, you go.
We'll keep feeding our middles a little bit more. Like, we'll carry on those extra 3-3-3 applications. But then by the time we start playing September, we'll be back up to 3/4.
When does the ryegrass go out?
Here, Mother Nature sort of dictates it for us, but typically we're last week of September, first week of August or October, with a little bit, and then we'll follow that up with a little bit more each week.
Okay, so truly after this approach with the Bermuda.
Yeah. We wanted to start to slow down. Our teams wouldn't mind if we were brown, say this fall. We'd have some green left in it by Thanksgiving. There'd be a little bit of green left, but we've toyed with paints. We've done this and that, but we just want to put the seed out there and keep consistent on it just a little bit, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, just, focus on high traffic areas, just because then you're giving it more of a chance as you're putting it out more often.
And really, like, I think you've told me that you found that less is more with ryegrass.
Yeah, on average, we had put out 5.5 pounds over everything last year.
Wow.
And we were thick.
And again, controlling biomass, like you can't be too thick, like you said.
That's exactly right.
And of course, the difference between the wings or the outsides of the fields and the middle is more Patriot on the outsides.
Correct.
And the middle more Tahoma. They grow different, like
completely different.
And overseeding into them is different.
Yeah, it's tricky to, especially we have 2 that are behind our stadium that you look down on, and the middles of those are Northbridge and Tahoma, and they stay green. And the Patriot, as soon as it gets under 40 degrees, it goes brown. So it's like this bright green middle with Bermuda. It's like
crazy.
But we've had good success with the way we overseed when we're using. We use a Reduxum speed seed.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because this comes up a lot, that people struggle overseeding the new type Bermudas.
Yeah, we don't too badly, because the Reduxum speed seed has a brush between the rollers. So the rollers make sure to get it in. We brush before.
Stand everything up.
Before we seed. We don't do much else, though, because I don't want to do anything to damage it.
Because you're still playing on this Bermuda.
Correct.
Yeah.
But part of it's biomass management going in August or July, August, September. Like, we'll put a light verticut on here upcoming to make sure we're not, like, we don't want any biomass accumulation between now and then. So then when we seed, we make sure we're seeding into our soil. We're not seeding into the thatch layer.
Okay, great. Yeah, great.
That makes a big difference. We've had no issues overseeding.
Yeah, excellent. And keeping it light and thin, keeping the Bermuda happy through the whole process. Yep. And really starting now driving roots. I mean,
but doing nothing and I see this a lot in my consultancy, that verticut or slit seed, or we don't do anything like that that might make the stolons, that might cut stolons that late in the year, because you're going to lose carbohydrate reserves at that point. Like, don't do any. It's like you wouldn't do that to bluegrass in the summer.
Wow.
You don't want to make bluegrass. We always call it, like, you don't want to make the bluegrass bleed.
There you go.
In the summer. Why would you do that to Bermuda in the fall? Because it's going to yield in the same issue. So doing nothing to cut any stolons or rhizomes, just brush, maybe light springtime, be very careful with it, sand, and top dress.
That's it. It accomplishes what you're after without abusing the plant.
That's exactly right.
The abuse for Bermuda has to happen in the first half.
Oh
of
yeah,
the
it loves to be beat, but not after September.
Not in the second half.
No. But still being consistent on it. Dr. Wu at Oklahoma State was really helpful with this, and Dr. Fontanier.
Do you hear me, Doctor?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Doctor? It's my favorite Steely song, dude.
It's a good one.
Dr. Wu.
Yeah. He provided us a good reminder when we were quizzing him once on feeding approach when we have undersoil heating.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing with these new Bermuda grasses, going back to even to latitude and Northbridge, like, we see the grasses fail because they get hungry, or we didn't carb load enough. So continuing to feed a bit as well. Like, it's what we love 545 in the fall.
Yeah. It's such a nice even analysis, and it provides a nice even feed. Yeah. I mean, because you're 6% calcium on that product, you're 5% sulfur on that product. It's like just straight 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be able to just
get
we're
that.
Not going to make it lush.
No.
The last thing we're doing is making it lush.
But you're getting that potash to the Bermuda in the fall as well, which is key.
Well, we do, and we chuck some pretty good, 50 and something. Like, we're being pretty aggressive with those kinds of things.
K-Vantage, have you used K-Vantage?
Yes.
Yeah,
we did last fall for the first time.
At this time, for this purpose.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, and we use there's potassium silicate product we use. It's a 0018.
Wonderful.
As well, like, what can we do to reinforce cell walls in conjunction with the K-Vantage, the calcium,
wonderful,
the potassium to be
and C3 drive-in roots.
Stuff's great.
Yeah. That product is just like, it's a game changer for people. Yeah. It's so easy to use.
It is easy to use. I think it's probably easy to overlook how important it is as well.
There you go.
Because it's, especially I feel like your core products when it comes to C3 and or like we've talked about 545 a lot. We've talked about 333 with Myco as well. Like those, like. Yeah, the other products are sexy and some of the new ones are cool, but it's like the things that you hear Joel talk about, like, back when I was a young lad. Sorry, Joel, I'm making fun of you. But
that's good.
When I started this company, 47. It was only 35.
Oh yeah.
It gets longer every time.
And he's
because he gets older.
Yeah,
he gets younger.
I was just a teenager starting this thing.
Yeah. Those core products. I mean, there's a reason this company's, at least in my opinion, as an outsider, there's a reason your company's where it's at, because the core products are so important.
Well, and you brought up to me now again, with just the volume of work that you have in front of you here, 24 fields, you have to spread all the work to everyone on this staff as a vital member. I mean, because of how much work has to get done. And you've said that building programs, it's very important to know that everyone can use it and safely and effectively. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's been when we used to use synthetic products, and say you're doing a methylene urea synthetic product that's going to release which I love that technology, but there's a lot more risk involved. Or if you're using ammonium sulfate all the time, a lot more risk involved because the burn potential is so high. There's no burn potential when you're chucking out 4 or 5.
No.
And
not
like,
just the burn, so that's the burn potential from that day of application and driving over it and overlap and everything that you'd be concerned about there. But then the salt index of that solution, of that whole soil solution, has now increased for another couple weeks.
Yep.
And so to some degree, all of the damage that you were susceptible to on day one, you're still to some degree susceptible to.
And we see that too, Jack, on these new Bermudas. They are so aggressive. Their fertilizer response, their salt response is really, really good. Especially, we've got some fields that have, we've talked about even on here before, that we've got 2 fields in particular that have a bit of an organic layer that we've really sort of got controlled.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to see, like, that organic layer would stay wet when the salt was there. Like, you might see tire tracks a week or 10 days or 2 weeks later. You're like, well, wait a minute, why do we? Oh wait, we watered last night. Salt's still in solution. We were turning. I'm dealing with that in a situation that we'll talk about this in a minute, I guess. But I'm dealing with that specifically in my new situation.
Oh, okay.
That we have an extremely high salt content. That we're seeing mower tracks, and we just did a flush last weekend to be able to get that salt. And I mean, already the grasses. So to that point, I mean, it's like trying to manage that salt is. It's not just about flushing. I mean, you're not just putting it there because of irrigation water. You're also putting it there because you're fertilizers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so, like, you would be afraid. The same reason why you don't want to use 2100 and screw up the application.
Yeah.
That same damage can happen, weeks out.
Certainly, and it's,
yeah.
Especially if you're dealing with any sort of layering. Because there's going to be moisture. I mean, obviously, it's always connected to moisture. I mean, all of our problems.
There you go.
Good, and all of our problems are connected to moisture.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, you see it where you saw it on these fields here at the SoccerPlex, where you were layered up and holding more moisture.
And it's because I do think, as we take a step back and credit the work that our team has done, we have been focused on layering so much for so many years now. We don't have organic, like, between spring tining and I said we've skipped a verticut, but we spring tine so often, we brush so often, we top dress so often that we really mitigate. We don't put out much nitrogen in total.
Mm-hmm.
We don't ever make the plant lush. We talked about, I think it was 2 summers ago, we talked about how hard the big challenge I was having or learning about how it was how much nitrogen to put out. And balancing it, because you need recovery, but you can't make the plant weak because
Mm-hmm.
you're always playing on it.
Mm-hmm.
We found such a nice balance. We're not accumulating organic matter except in the spring when the soil temperature was too low. So it makes all of this easier.
Great.
And I don't like the word easy because there's nothing about our job that's easy. But sometimes we make it too hard.
Well, and relating back to the amount of play and the crew, you need to all these things that you do need to be accomplishable by everyone here.
That's by a full-time staff of 10.
There you go.
160 acres with 24 fields, 1.2 million visitors to the park in a year with a full-time staff of 10.
Even down to applications. Like applying fertilizer, spraying, and I think that the safety of the use applies so much in that regard.
Well, and you and I have talked about, as we've strategized plans and bounced ideas off each other, like, we've really gone to we never typically use over a quarter pound of anything. We just like to be consistent. Like, we're doing it more often.
Nice.
Which takes more manpower, which
Sure.
takes more labor.
Sure.
Sorry, I hate manpower. Manpower bothers me. It's labor. It's
yeah.
labor.
Okay. Good point.
Yeah, it's teamwork. It's
Yes,
labor.
it is.
It's we don't live in a man's world.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
But it's good experience for everyone, and everyone there's kind of a camaraderie around the smell. Like, oh, well, you've been putting it. Well, I want to get in on some of that.
There you go. And it
I
works.
want to make my partner at home irritated too when I get home and smell like chicken compost.
Well, I mean, yes, that is the funny side of it. It also relates to, I've heard of like assistant superintendents or people that have to stay on all day long babysitting grass. When they smell that smell, they know that the job's about to get easier.
That's right.
It's
amen. I mean, it does. It's we're turning this into a sales pitch for Earthworks, aren't we?
Jeez.
But
well, that's not what we want.
We got to make it. We got to keep it simple. That's why we broke it down. Went to lower rates more often. Focus on the middles. We've treated the entire field maybe 4 times this year, 3 times. I mean, it's not much. I mean, we've treated our middles at least double that.
There you go.
And we're just focused on but I don't want to juice. I never want to be too growing too aggressively, because those cell walls are going to be weak. And like, I loved it when we were growing, the ryegrass was growing in the spring, because you feel good when you're cutting grass. You feel like, yeah, that's what we're here for. Right. You're like, oh, we didn't cut much today. Well, okay, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing when you have the schedule like you have.
That's exactly right.
Well, let's transition, dude. I don't want it to sound like a sales pitch, and I want to talk about you.
You want me to come work for Earthworks?
Yeah,
okay.
that'd be great. That'd be great. Well, that's the ultimate sales pitch. Come over here. But you've got a lot going on right now. We've talked a lot about the SoccerPlex, and things are in good shape here. But tell me about what's going on in your life.
So, I got to be careful how I describe this for my wife too.
Yeah.
It's officially out there now that I am the senior director of grounds for the Kansas City Current.
Excellent.
Big change, back into pro sports specifically. Not a move I was looking to make.
Right.
Not a move that I was expecting to make. But a move that I had to make. What the organization is doing, I guess many people probably, if you're not aware, Current is the NWSL team in Kansas City,
National Women's Soccer League. Love it.
They have built the first women's specific soccer stadium in the world.
Holy cow!
And it is a terrific building. It's awesome. It's a nice building.
Oh, that's great.
From a field side, it's a building that has sand-based field with Northbridge, Bermuda, that has a sub-air system and hydronic glycol undersoil heating as well.
Oh my gosh.
And SGL grow lights. So for people that are like, oh, women's soccer,
that is quite an investment.
Probably have one of the most technologically advanced fields in the United States at this point.
See, yeah.
Yep. And it is, and our training facility, similar investment. We're building more fields. We're doing improvement work. They have an ownership group that is dedicated to ensuring that women's sports is successful. It's ironic that I ended up in the situation that I did with them, and in my position with them. When I came to SoccerPlex 15 years ago, it was partially why they were looking for a new field manager at that point, was because they were about to host what at that time was called the what was it called? It was called there was a new women's soccer league.
Okay.
And they played here. We were host at Maryland SoccerPlex.
The stadium here was their home stadium.
And they trained here, and their locker room facility, like they
Everything
lived
was here.
They lived here.
Got it.
So I got my first exposure to professional women's soccer 15 years ago. One of the coolest things I've ever been around. I mean, I came from MLS at that point. I'd been at Sporting Kansas City.
Okay.
I'd built their facilities, and so I'd been at the pro level. And to see what they were trying to do even back then to develop women's sports, to see the impact that women's sports has on little girls, to see the impact that women's sports has on society as a whole, because it changes the gender role a little bit more, to understand that, hey, you know what, I can do this too.
Yes. Yeah, and that speaks volumes for then every industry.
Absolutely, big time,
Mm-hmm.
big time. And there's been a couple people so far that have been like, you know, especially even some sales consultants, to be like, well, that's bizarre. Like, well, that money's green too.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're going to buy just as much, if not more, than an MLS team is going to buy. So,
and the opportunity that we have to impact here is
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So this is such a full circle conversation.
It is.
Well, back to Kansas City. You were at the Sporting.
Ironically, yeah. I mean, I'm from northern Missouri.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. This is really nuts.
It's funny, when I met their stadium general manager. Her name's Stephanie Tomlin. She'd worked for AEG in LA. She worked at Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Holy cow.
Like, she's done some cool stuff. And like, when I met her, I was like, wow, what's it like to be back here? And she said, she was from Kansas City. She's like, I always wanted to be back home.
Yes.
I've never wanted to be back home.
Okay.
And not because of any reason. I love the world.
Right. And you travel the world.
And I don't do favorites. Like, if somebody says, what's your favorite place? I couldn't pick it, because there's so many. Like, LA is amazing. DC is amazing. Traffic's bad, sure. But Paris is amazing. Like, small town, like Kansas City's amazing. Like, every single place is so unique. And I never would have even pictured myself being back there. And 4 weeks after I met her, they had hired me. So,
oh my gosh,
money's nice and it's great, but what it came down to for me, Jack, is, and I think it's so important, that I'm also the dad of 2 girls now.
Yes, I know. Yeah, your wife and 2 daughters just pulled away before we started recording.
That is my world.
Yes.
It bothers me more than ever, and I've always been, and everyone in this industry that is aware of me knows that I am quite liberal, and I am quite outspoken when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
I'm a huge proponent of women working in this industry. I always have been.
Mm-hmm. You've run the academy here.
We have, yeah, we.
How many women are on the staff
we
here?
have 4 on our staff currently.
Yeah.
Not full,
just
not
about
full
half.
time, but
just about half.
Yeah. So, but I get fired up about it, because I've had so many people send me, private messages or this and that on social media, and be like, "Oh, come on, this is a man's job."
Oof.
And like, maybe the job you're doing is a man's job. The job I do as an executive, as a manager, as a teacher, as a coach, as somebody that's involved on a daily basis, is not a man's job. Mm-hmm. It's a job.
Yeah.
And
it's a
job
person's
that I
job.
Freaking love.
Right.
And if my daughter can do that, she can do it right already. She telling me what to do on the yard already. Like,
excellent.
It's pretty dialed in.
Yeah,
too.
she's dialed in. She knows. She's got an eye.
She knows. Like, hey, when it smells like chicken poop, it's doing a good thing. We're right back to that again, aren't we?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No joke. We walked into our shop last weekend. I took them out to the match in Kansas City, and we walked into the shed. And Mary Hill goes, "Oh, it smells like the shed at SoccerPlex." There's a pallet of 545 sitting right there.
Love it.
I've never been so proud.
Yeah, love it. There you go, dude.
But and back to the point I was making before, because I think it's the core of this. Women's sports is a big deal now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's been a big deal for 15 years, because you see what they've been doing and you see how it's evolving. To be a girl dad, to have the opportunity to step away from what I think is the best job in America and my job here, and potentially go into a situation that could be even a better job than this, which I think it probably is. I'm just so lucky. I'm so blessed.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great outlook, dude.
I got to walk the walk and talk the talk. I can't just talk all the time about promoting and expecting diversity and being inclusive and having equality. I can't, like, I'm going to go live it.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said to me, it's the best compliment I think I've ever gotten. Somebody said to me the other day, he said, "Oh, you're going to work in women's sports." Figures. It's like, awesome.
Yes,
that's cool.
Because
thank
you're
you.
right. I've been setting
Thank you.
myself up for this, and now I have the opportunity to make some serious changes because I have some serious backing.
That's exactly correct.
You're going to work for the franchise that has just built the first complex only for women's sports.
The first stadium.
Yeah,
specifically for women's sports anywhere in the world. Like it's
remarkable.
Yeah, that's funny. We put the team put a ad on the back of the buses in Paris and Nice during the Olympics that are going on right now. So we've got Kansas City Current ads on the back of essentially saying, "Hey,
I can't wait to get out there, man.
So
I'm
great.
psyched. I'm excited.
It's such a legit build, right on the river. I mean, they just have done a terrific job. It's not huge, 12,000, set up to expand to 22,000.
Okay.
Really great. I mean, but you know what got me, and I've said this to the team that. And even Becca noticed this when we went out for our first match on this like right after 4th of July, like 4th of July weekend, and we were pulling in and coming off the freeway. There's traffic, and then you get to the stadium, and it's an hour before the match, and there are people everywhere. I mean, it is like it could have been a Chiefs game, and there are people everywhere. Couldn't have been a Chiefs game because people were wearing teal; they weren't wearing red.
Okay, yeah.
It was, I literally said out loud, "This is crazy."
Yeah, that's great.
Because 15 years ago, we were drawing 2,000 fans for a professional women's game, and to see this, but this only happens when you build buildings like that.
Okay, excellent.
This is where things happen. This is when you spend money and you make a commitment and you do these things. This is where the opportunities grow.
And think about the opportunity that you're going to have to educate a whole new class of people in this industry with all of the technology that you have behind you at this facility.
Makes a big difference. Yeah, we are lacking this technology in many professional stadiums. We have many field managers across sports that don't understand how to sell the need for this sort of technology. This ownership group just said, "Hey, we need it because it's what makes us the best."
Mm-hmm.
But we got a half inch of rain before the match this past Saturday. In about 15 minutes, this nice Kansas City thunderstorm. I'm thinking, God, I could use this in Maryland right now.
Yeah,
where is this
kept
at?
Moving.
And the artificial, where the interface between the artificial around the field and the grass was holding a little bit of water.
Started to puddle a little bit.
Started to with there's a drain on the
Sideline.
tunnel side that obviously needs to be cleaned out. So
Okay.
we're going to work on that this week.
Okay.
I just flipped on the sub air for 15 minutes and the puddle was gone. Yep, straight away. And I was talking to Trey from sub air. You understand how it works, and then when you do that, it reminds you again how important technology like that is.
Yes.
And the importance or the need of it in professional stadiums is so vast. And now it's 102 out there today, so we're running in pressure mode.
Think about what that could do for hosting like concerts and stuff.
Absolutely. Big time, especially on a concert flooring. Oh yeah. I mean, when you
Can you
around,
go opposite? Yeah.
That's what today with the heat we're running on pressure, so we're pushing the cooler air back up through the sand and just making sure the CO2 is getting out of the sand.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Bermuda. It's hard to make Bermuda unhappy, but we're trying to. We want the healthiest, strongest plant we can have, so we can host the most events we could possibly host.
Yeah, because this is a service business, like you
exactly
said.
Correct.
This is a service business. Let's serve.
We have to provide players with a surface for them to do their job, so they can extend their career. Like I have a good friend that played many years in NWSL, and she retired last year. And I'm every time I see her, I get fired up because I know part of the reason that she had to retire early is because of lower leg injuries, because we should have done a better job as an industry to provide
Bingo.
better surfaces, and we always have an excuse, and it's like trying to figure out how to not have excuses and continue to understand our job is to provide. It isn't to and I used to say this as a young field manager. Oh, well, I like to make my field fast, or I like to make my field slow, or I like to cut the grass really short. Who cares? Like, what do the players need? What's the coach want? Like, that's what this is about. Like, I've dealt with situations this year where field managers have buried fields in sand and expected the players to train on it the next day. You wouldn't do that to a men's team, but they're doing that to the women's team.
Oh, that's a problem, man.
Like, this kind of stuff is, I get very passionate about, one, being a girl dad, two, having a relationship with some of the players that I have over their careers, and they should be getting the same situation, the same surfaces, the same environment that the men are getting.
You treat people well, man. You do that very well, and that is that's the first filter that you run everything through. How is this for the other person, and you do that on every level, and also going to work for a women's soccer team, figures, bro. Figures.
Thanks for that. No, I really appreciate you saying that, because some people are turned off when I'm transparent and honest, but I love what I do.
Yeah.
Two, I love people.
Yeah, and that comes across huge.
And when you combine those two things, I can't do what I do without people. It's got to be a team effort. And but when I can't imagine having a real job, like doing what you have to do and sell stuff every day. That's a real job.
No, yours is the real job, because like you have to provide. They showed up, they paid. You have to provide.
That's true. I like that. I like that pressure. I like that expectation, because that keeps me on my toes and keeps driving me. And I think that, the team we built here, the team we're going to build in Kansas City, we've already got the Cork foundation of a great team. We're gonna build out a team. Somebody said to me that, I'm sure it's not going to be any. It's not going to be a lot of men on that team, is there? Like, well, I actually feel guilty that I'm in the job I'm in.
Oh,
because I do think that we should be potentially putting a woman in this, giving her this opportunity. But at the same time, I'm not going to take this lightly. Like, I understand the responsibility. I understand the importance of
building a diverse team.
Yes, and as I said before, walking the walk that I've been talking. And we have a diverse team here. It's great. It's terrific.
Yeah.
We have to continue to do. Like, I appreciate what you said previously, because I am lucky in a way that I'm able to come across to people that we can build good culture. And that's what it's about. But it's about being honest with your team. It's about being honest with them. It's about being transparent. It's about being supportive. And that we're going to build a terrific team.
Oh, that's
we have
exciting.
the core of a great team. We're going to build a better team. We're going to build more fields. We're going to, the investment.
Okay, great. I know good fertilizer, bro. Yeah. I got good.
What's it smell like?
Yeah, it's
Hey, my daughter knows.
Yeah, she knows. And it's that's cool, man.
I'm just so excited for her, and obviously my 1-year-old. She's 15. Melanie's 15 months old now, but for Marielle to see every single day, like, she's already been, like, the matches we've been to, like, she's part of a generation that doesn't know women's soccer or women's sports as being, quote, inferior to men's sports. And so now she's living in this world. She's 4. She's seeing it through her eyes the first time. First soccer match she ever went to, besides here at SoccerPlex, was at the first women's soccer stadium in the entire world.
Oh, that
she
must
just thinks it's a regular thing.
What? Well, it must have made a lasting. It'll have made a lasting impression. Yeah, that's great. And I don't want to keep you because I know that you're off to a swim banquet this evening.
As you are.
As I
well.
am too. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So, women in sports, Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah, literally. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your little girls swim team, my little girl swim team too. Yeah. It's
a great time to be a girl dad. That's
there
for
you
sure.
go, bro.
It's a great time.
Yeah, it's fun. I cannot wait to get out and see you in your new facility out there.
Looking forward to show.
I'm
looking forward to showing anybody around. I'm excited to. But we've a lot of high profile stuff coming up. We've got an international tournament going on right now. We've got the National Women's Soccer League Championship is there in November. No matter what, hopefully we're in it.
There you go.
But even if we're not, we're still hosting it. So there's a lot to go on, and
well, so yeah, you're gonna hit the ground running. Well, so what's gonna happen here at the SoccerPlex?
We're working through that.
Okay,
Great
good.
question. We are.
There might be listeners that are asking themselves that same question.
So well done. We'll pay you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the jobs are posted on Teamwork.
Okay.
And on I think it's on the SFMA website as well. But we're looking for, as always, passionate people that are interested in a challenge.
Yep.
God, it's a terrific environment. I'm gonna miss it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna miss it a lot. I'm gonna miss this team.
Hopefully you can stay involved to some extent.
Yep. Hopefully as well. Yep. And I think that's part of the plan currently. So the team that we've built here is second to none, and the equipment fleet we have is. I mean, our board has been committed. They're committed to this,
mm-hmm.
and we don't have the biggest team, but we're well resourced. And if somebody's interested, we'd love to have them apply because it would be. I guarantee they would have a lot of fun. Definitely have a lot of fun.
And you've built a great culture here, top to bottom, and you've worked through some enormous agronomic challenges.
Yes.
And you've done a lot of hard work here has already been done.
Yeah, we've hopefully what we've done is laid the groundwork for much success for many years to come. And I mean, obviously that is part of the whole process of carbon-based fertility, right? And that's
it.
But even from our
building
drone,
a foundation.
Exactly. And then you tie in we're making irrigation improvements. We're with the drone program we have through GreenSight with the analyzing like everything that we do. Like we've just tried to make this job easier.
Good.
Because how do we simplify the challenge?
Well, when you have 20 weekends in a row of full sheets, every field, 5 games of field, stuff like that, it's insane.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out ways of making the job easier.
That's because you have those 5 days between to work on them, or 4 days some weeks.
Wow.
So
yeah.
you get your job done.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
No, thanks for asking that sincerely.
Yeah,
we'd love to see some more applicants because it's a great opportunity for somebody, that's for sure. And obviously the track record of people that have been here. I mean, when I was here before, and
then Ryan
Bajorn was here, and he's been on the Earthworks podcast.
Yes, excellent.
Indeed, up in New England, and Mitch Litz is the stadium director or the director of grounds for FC Cincinnati.
So he went from here to there.
From here to there.
Okay.
Yep. And then that's when I had to step back in.
Yeah, perfect.
So there's John Torres, Philadelphia Union, has worked here.
Oh wow! I didn't realize John was here.
Yeah, he was our MVP for a while.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. And that was James Lepetito. Up at UConn.
Oh yeah,
here.
that's right.
Yeah. So we've people that have worked here have had decent success. Dusty Levan at Miami-Dade County Parks.
Mm-hmm.
Is in charge of all their fields. Probably has the best job. Probably that I said I have the best job in America. He might have the best job in America.
That's good.
Just growing
Shout
Bermuda.
out to Dusty.
Yeah, having grown Bermuda grass in Miami, Florida. That's. He says it's hard. Come on. I still don't get it. He's. I hope I will send this to him. He's terrified of sharks, and he lives in Florida. Like he was scared of sharks when he worked here.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But,
you got to be careful of the sharks that walk on the land.
that's right.
That's what I've heard.
Exactly. But yeah, thankfully, we've had people that have worked here have had good success. So hopefully, it could be a building block for, or someone. So 8 weeks ago, I would have said I was never leaving.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so now there's the opportunity to come into a job in which the last person never ever wanted to leave. Yeah. So what a great opportunity
Unique
that
situation.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jerad. Thanks for being on. And next time you're on the podcast, we'll be doing it from Kansas City.
Yes, indeed.
All right, buddy.
See you soon, buddy.
All right. Thank you.